guys, so today we're going to talk about the properties of logarithms. So there are a couple foundational properties of logarithms that we can do. So I want to just go through them with you so that we get a little bit of a better foundation of them, so that when we move on to solving logarithmic equations, we have this kind of set foundational knowledge of it. All right, so property number 1 says if I have a log with base b of m times n, I can write it also as log base b of m plus log base b of n. So when we have addition, we call it condensing. We can condense it to multiplying the two terms. Or if we had multiplying the two terms, I can expand it into the two terms being added. So let's just kind of talk about it. I feel like it's a little bit easier to see it in motion when you are actually working through with the process. So for the first one, we've got log base 4 of 8 plus log base 4 of 3. So right now what we're going to do is we're starting on this side and we are going to that side. So we can write it as log, in this case the base is 4, of whatever was in the first spot times whatever is in the second one. So we're going to write it as 8 times 3. All right, I'm going to erase all these little circles and whatnot. Okay, but now I say to myself, well, all right, could I actually do what 8 times 3 is? Yeah, that's going to be log base 4 of, I'm going to write it down a little bit so I have some space. Log base 4 of 8 times 3, 24. That's the final thing that we have with condensing. All right, so it's condensed down to a single log. All right, likewise with b, where we have variables, log base 2 of x plus log base 2 of y, I can write it as log base 2 of x. And now if it's adding, when we condense it into 1, we write it as times y. And then, well, x times y, I can make it a little bit neater, log base 2. Normally we don't have that little dot shown when we're multiplying two variables. I'm going to write it as xy. And that's it. You're not wrong if you leave it as the dot, but you won't see it in problems or answer keys like that. Okay? Alrighty, on to the next one. We've got property number 2 is the same idea as property number 1, except for this time instead of multiplication, it's division. And so when we have log base b of m divided by n, we could rewrite it as log base b of m minus log base b of n. So subtraction becomes division, division becomes subtraction. All right, so we have a subtraction problem for letter A. So I can condense it, log base 5 of the first one, 18, divided by the second one, 6. And now I say, all right, well, I can simplify that. Log base 5, 18 divided by 6 is 3. That's my final answer. All right. On to the next. We've got ln. ln stands for the natural log. So it just means a log. It's just like kind of log base 10. It's like that special log. So ln is log base e. So we're going to write it as ln. And when we have x minus y, when we rewrite it, condensing, it's going to be x divided by y. Is there anything else I can do to make that any neater? Nope. So that's it. All right, so that's it for property number 2. Okay, and the third property says, if we have an exponent, log base b of m to the n, I can take this exponent and relocate it down in front so that it becomes n times log base b of m. And so likewise for A, I have this number out in front. So I can work backwards and say, okay, well then that number goes up to the exponent. So I can move the exponent down in front or the number in front up to the exponent. So it's going to be log base 4 of 2 raised to the 5th. But I know what 2 to the 5th is. 2 raised to the 5th is equal to log base 4 of 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 32. Final answer. Okay, so for B, that's the same thing. We've got this number out in front. So we're going to move that number out in front to the exponent. So it's going to be, now remember when there's no base, this is log base 10. Log base 10, but it's not shown, of x to the 3rd. And that's it. Final answer. Okay, so this next one is a combo of all of the properties kind of mixed up and jumbled. So we're going to kind of take it in little steps. So the first thing we do is kind of like PEMDAS, keep that idea the same, is that we want to relocate anything to an exponent if we can. So that means I look to see, are there any numbers in front of the word log? So are there any numbers in front of the word log? So I'm going to just go ahead and go around and circle my number in front of the word log. Number in front of the word log, number in front. And what I do is I relocate it to the exponent of that log. So I'm going to relocate those numbers in front to an exponent. Those numbers in front to an exponent. Okay? Numbers in front to an exponent. Numbers in front to an exponent. 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 Okay? So to rewrite this, this would be log base 7 of 3 squared plus log base 7 of 5. Okay, but before I go anywhere, 3 squared is equal to 9. So this is, I'm going to erase that just so I have a little bit more space. 3 squared is 9. All right, so now for the next one, it's going to be log base 6 of x, exponent is 4, minus log base 6, y, exponent is 2. All right, for this next one, it's log 9 plus log 2, exponent is 3, minus log 3. All right, but I know what 2 to the 3rd is, so I'm going to just erase that 2 to the 3rd, and I'm going to put 2 to the 3rd, what it's equal to, which is 2 times 3 times 2, 8. Okay, so now for the next one, we've got ln. Remember, that's just a special log. The base is e, a to the 5th, plus ln b squared minus ln c to the 3rd. Okay, and now these ones get a little bit trickier. Log base 2, I'll write it over here. Log base 2 of 9 to the 1/2 plus log base 2 of 2 to the 3rd. Okay, so remember how up above when it was numbers, I said, okay, well, what does that equal? Same idea for this one. We're going to do log base 2, 2 to the 3rd is 8. Log base 2, 9 to the 1/2. Oh, we've dealt with those before, remember? We have power over root, so that means the square root of 9. 9 to the 1/2 is the square root of 9, so that's going to be 3. All right, and now this next one is going to be log, there's no base, so it's base 10, 2 to the 4th, minus log, no base is 10, 8 to the 1/3. Okay, so remember how we looked at this? We said log 2 to the 4th is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. That's 16. Minus log 8 to the 1/3. That's power over root. So in this case, it's saying the third root of 8. The cube root of 8 is 2. Okay, so we're not done yet. That's just step 1. Okay, exponents go first. So I look ahead and I move any of those that need to be in the exponent first. And then I think, all right, well, what am I dealing with for the next step? So for the next step, for problem number 1, I've got plus. So my rules are log base 7. When I'm adding, I take these numbers and I'm going to multiply them. 9 times 5, which is going to be 45. So that's nice and simple. Log base 7 of 45. All right, for the next one, we've got log base 6. And now what I do with this is when I have subtraction, I take these two things that I'm subtracting and I'm going to divide them. So it's going to be x to the 4th over y squared. Well, I can't simplify that, so I just write it down. X to the 4th over y squared. Final answer. Okay, now for this next one, we've got a couple steps. So we've got, just scrolled up, log. Okay, now we've got 3 things going on. 9, 8, 3. So we're going to work left to right. So we're going to do 9 times 8. Okay, that equals 72. And then I'm doing minus, which means divided by 3. So we do 9 times 8 divided by 3. Okay, so we've got 72 divided by 3. So that is 24. So log of 24. Final answer. All right. Next one. So we've got same idea as before. So we've got ln. And now we've got these 3 things. We've got a to the 5th and b squared. Now in between them is a plus, so we're going to be multiplying a to the 5th times b squared. And then we're going to be dividing that by, because subtraction means dividing, c to the 3rd. Okay, so we're now going to go ahead and just copy that down right next to a to the 5th times b squared all over c to the 3rd. But technically I don't need that dot in between those two, so I'm going to just erase that multiplication dot because it's unnecessary. Okay, next one. We've got log base 2. And then we're going to take those 2 things, and because they're adding, we're going to multiply those 2 numbers. 3 times 8, 24. All right, log base 2 of 24, final answer. For the next one, log. All right, now we are subtracting, so we're going to take these 2 numbers. When we subtract, we divide. 16 divided by 2. All right, and that becomes 8. Log of 8. Final answer. All right, you guys now try the condensing one. The one thing to remember is when you have an exponent of 1/2, that's the square root. An exponent of 1/3, that's a cube root. Okay, so be on the lookout for those.